If you've been on the internet for any time at this point, it's almost undoubtable that you've seen this little creature.
There you are. I hope you did well in your herbology class.
This guy being Hagrid from the PS1 version of Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone. Semantics aside, the history of these Harry Potter games is quite odd. The early 2000s was a treasure trove of licensed games. Nearly every major IP at the time would have a game released for it. You had SpongeBob games, and Scooby-Doo games, and the Soprano game.
Well, this game's going down in history.
If it existed, you could bet there was some company out there willing to make a game out of it. And Harry Potter was no exception. EA Games, initially holding a death grip on proprietary rights through their works with Warner Brothers Entertainment, for many years sold and paid companies to produce a multitude of Harry Potter games. This would eventually fall through as EA's thoughts about making a Harry Potter MMO in 2002 would be set to a halt, as they didn't believe the IP had any staying power. With EA losing the license in 2011,
oh dear, we are in trouble.
Warner created a new publishing label titled Portkey Games in 2017. And under this label and through the works of Avalanche Software, we're slated to see a huge Hogwarts story in the following days with Hogwarts Legacy. With this game right around the corner, I wanted to review one of the lesser known Potter games throughout EA's history with the title. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for the PlayStation 1. EA's development plans for these games were truly massive. Every game in the early years would have multiple ports for various consoles, all being their own unique game. The Game Boy Color games had this turn-based RPG similar to Pokemon or Final Fantasy. The PC games being these general platformers with their own linear storytelling. And the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox games all being this sort of Wind Waker, like Legend of Zelda inspired, where they had this open world and dungeons and different nooks and crannies that you could explore. This leaves the PlayStation 1 versions, which are all known for their own unique quirks.
Oh my god, you so ugly!
Releasing November 15th, 2001, it came to the PlayStation far into its run. With the PlayStation 2 releasing in October of 2000, it had already been out for over a year at this point. And the following year of 2002 saw the release of the second film, Chamber of Secrets, and another run of these Harry Potter games. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, released for the 6th generation of consoles, it's considered by many to be one of the most complete Harry Potter experiences to date. With an open world of Hogwarts to explore, spells to learn, items to purchase, and dungeons to fight through, many found this game to be the perfect setting for you to truly dive into Hogwarts. However, a Sorcerer's Stone game in this style wouldn't be released until 2003, making the PS1 version the definitive version for console players to be absorbed into that storyline. With the success of the first game on PS1, it made nothing but sense to absolutely make a sequel of it. While nowhere near as famous or remarkable as its PS2 counterpart, how well does this classic retelling hold up almost 21 years later? The game starts with the narrator in a storybook laying down the details of the Weasleys breaking Harry out of his uncle's home. After that, we're taken to the Burrows and met with Ron's incredibly charming face. Ron talks to us some more about how to use our controls, and we're let go to a little tutorial, which brings up my first real gripe with the game. There's no jump button. There wasn't in the first game either, and upon playing the PS2 game on stream, none of these games have a jump button. Now, I know I'm not the intended demographic for these games, but even when I was, I'm pretty sure I understood the concept of a button solely dedicated to jumping. Instead, the game forces you to jump when you walk over an edge, leading to some awkward moments. And while it's not a huge issue, when it works, and when it doesn't, it's more of a pain to get it to work again than it is anything else. But It's not the end of the world. After the tutorial, we catch some pipes being thrown by a ghoul and help Ginny feed her alcoholic anonymous program Pac-Man. And then we help Ron's dad commit property damage in the 3rd degree. We then proceed to my least favorite minigame in the entire game as a whole, which is the de-gnoming. So to de-gnome, you spam the square button to build power and press triangle to release the gnome, timing your angle in this green area and trying to aim for the objects for more points. It's fine, the minigame is fine, and there really isn't any penalty for getting a low amount of points. However, if you are trying to 100% the game, you have to get 800 points, which is easier said than done. While it's a minor gripe, and it really just takes some practice and time more than anything else, with how clunky it feels, it definitely makes it my least favorite part of this game. After completing the de-gnoming, Fred and George challenge you to a wizard's duel. We're gonna derail the story a little bit to talk about the combat in the game. There's 3 different types of combat you'll be seeing throughout the majority of the game. You have the aforementioned wizard duel. These are specific fighting instances where both you and your opponent sit on opposite sides of a barrier and try to lower the other's health. Do this twice and you win. The wizard's duels are unique in the fact if your opponent's spell hits one of these red sparkling items, it'll drop a unique curse. More powerful spells that either shoot faster, shoot multiple projectiles, or do a little bit of extra damage. These being a big chunk of your reward for 100%ing the game. It's kind of lame how easy it is to just downright cheese them, but that's something I'll discuss a little bit later in the video. The second type of combat is your overworld combat. These are like basic enemies you encounter through the levels, most of which are easily taken out with a few charge attacks. However, some have unique mechanics, such as these knights that you can only hit when they're taunting. Overall, the combat in this game gets really stale really fast. You'll be encountering the same few enemies over and over again without much need to change up how you're fighting. The last type of combat will be the boss fights. These mostly consist of just spamming your wand attack over and over while either destroying or avoiding things that may harm you. Every boss you encounter does, however, have something sort of unique just to them. And the game never really lingers on any of its elements long enough for you to get bored of them or just kind of feel like they're drawn out. So while some things may feel like they're lacking, you never really feel like you're in these situations for all that long. After you finish up with the Weasleys, you use the Floo powder to take a trip to Diagon Alley. Harry obviously screws this up, and you have a nice little sliding level where you have to navigate Harry safely down the winding tunnels to the bottom. I love this area and the implication that the Floo powder doesn't just immediately take you where you need to go, and instead you have to go down like this massively dangerous sliding puzzle in the middle of the cosmos to get to where you actually want to go. After this, we get a narration of Diagon Alley and Ginny getting slipped Tom's diary before we take the Anglia to Hogwarts, which has my favorite cutscene in the entire game.
Looks like we've lost the train. Let's check out that tunnel. Looks like we found the train, Ron.
You fly the Anglia through the tunnels, avoiding obstacles and collecting speed boosts to stay away from the train, and repair wrenches to keep your health up. Every once in a while, you'll have a branching path to go onto. After outrunning the train, Ron and Harry make their way to Hogwarts before ultimately crashing into the Whomping Willow. This leads to an insanely easy boss fight where you avoid the Willow's attacks and shoot at the mouth. Aside from how laughably simple this boss is, I actually really love this setting, this gloomy sky and the design itself of the Whomping Willow, the dark castle exterior with the orange hues of the lights inside. This game has some really beautiful just PS1 backgrounds in general. This might be completely nostalgia as I did grow up with the first game, but I love the settings of this game. The snowy winterized version of Diagon Alley, the Slytherin dungeon, the Forbidden Forest at night, It's all just so uniquely PS1. And it's aesthetic that I truly think is probably one of my favorites, like graphically speaking. And it's a shame that the PS1 never got a Prisoner of Azkaban, because I would have loved to see like Honeydukes in this style. After your fight with the Willow, you're pretty much set free into Hogwarts, with your next objective being Herbology class. This gives you some time to look around the castle. All of the paintings in the castle being recreations of the people who actually worked on the game. You have hidden passages and rooms that are behind bookcases that you can explore to collect more wizards cards and jelly beans. Throughout the game, there's a total of 24 wizards cards to collect, all of which being special wizards or witches in the universe. The jelly beans in this game only have one purpose, and that's to buy 5 wizards cards from Fred and George for 50 beans apiece, meaning you only need 250 beans to complete the entire game. Then you never have to collect them again, kind of nullifying them entirely. The previous game had specific color beans to collect. Once you collected the needed amount, you'd get a passphrase to a portrait that would unlock a secret item. In this game, they're sadly all lumped together though, and ultimately pointless once you get the 5 wizards cards. The big unlock in this game is the Wizarding Founders Duels. Once you've collected enough wizard cards, this being 5, 10, and 20, you can challenge someone from Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin houses respectfully. These, as I've stated before, can be cheesed incredibly easily, and while I love the unique backgrounds and designs of these dueling areas, they're a pretty bum reward for 100%. After you complete all the duels and collect every card, you can come to this area and unlock an art book, which is your final 100% award. We continue the story after arriving at Hogwarts with our first Herbology class. We have a race to the classroom and then a rhythm button matching game. Afterwards, we have a small level where we must save some mandrakes from some slugs. After Herbology, we have a Quidditch training session, which surprisingly, as opposed to the previous game, there's not Quidditch matches in the main storyline. They opted for them to be a side option you could do from the main menu. After our Quidditch training, Ron tries to curse Malfoy for calling Hermione a mudblood, and we have to chase him to Hagrid's hut, where he spews out slugs for us to catch in Fang's bowl. Our next class is Defense Against the Dark Arts with Lockhart, another race to the classroom and a rhythm game. This time, our level has us knocking out pixies before Wingardium Leviosa-ing them into cages. Nearly Headless Nick then invites us to his 500th Death Day party where Peeves decides to ruin it. Surprisingly, both Peeves and the 500th Death Day are in the books and they're just not in the movies, but it's cool to see them in the games. After the Death Day party, Hermione tells us of her plan to make a Polyjuice potion, gives us the ingredients we need to get, which are leeches, lacewing flies, and boomslag skin. We then have a potions class, which I am 90% sure is ripped straight from the last game. After our potions class, Hagrid offers us some boomslag skins if we once again do some denoming for him. After the denoming, we get a Quidditch match against Gryffindor and Slytherin, although it's not a match at all and it's more of a boss fight where we have to slam into Malfoy on our brooms before eventually grabbing the golden snitch. We then get a storybook slide that's pretty much that really cool broken arm scene from the movie.
But the point is,
Still needing the leeches and lacewing flies, we head to Diagon Alley in the winter. Through a hide-and-seek minigame and a first-person shooter minigame, we get the extra ingredients. Back at Hogwarts, Malfoy is running the Duel League, and no one can beat him, so we decide to do our due diligence and kick his ass. Afterwards, he summons a massive snake. Through a short boss fight later, we receive another slideshow talking about Harry Potter being a parcel mouth. Back in the girls' bathroom, Hermione has finished the Polyjuice potion. We have to chase another Slytherin in the same way that we did Ron when he was spewing the slugs, before eventually Malfoy tells us he isn't the heir of Slytherin at all. Back at the bathrooms again, Moaning Myrtle is completely peeved and throwing things at us. We have to shoot the items out of the air and survive for the allotted time. After this, Lockhart invites us to a private lesson in his office. We learn a new spell that allows us to see some hidden platforms, and we have a small testing level solely for this new ability. Then we lead into the strangest level yet. I'll just let the cutscene play.
Happy Valentine's Day, Harry! How many cards have you received? So far, I've only received 46. But the day is still young. I've arranged a little surprise for you and the rest of the students at Hogwarts. My friendly card-carrying cupids!
Oh, you, Harry Potter, stay there. I've got a musical message to deliver to you.
Valentine's cards. Ugh! Keep away from me!
After this complete sequence break in the story, we get another slideshow telling us about Tom Riddle's diary, and Hagrid, and Aragog. Sneaking through the castle grounds to Hagrid's hut, we hear him getting sent to Azkaban for the time being, and that we should go search the Forbidden Forest. Going through the Forbidden Forest and working our way up to Aragog, we have a boss fight where we have to spam our spell onto the trees holding his webs up. A few filler levels up until we get to the Chamber of Secrets. We do another slide level very similar to the one with the Floo powder, another duel with Lockhart, and then we have some more filler levels to get these platforms to raise, in which we then fight the Basilisk. A pretty underwhelming first phase where all you have to do is dodge the acid he spits and hit him when his mouth is open, and then a pretty cool second phase where you use the Sword of Gryffindor to manipulate the Basilisk beam to break his fangs, and then that's it. That's game over. Now, I normally wouldn't ever just go full gas, no breaks, no stopping of a video game story like I just did, but I did it for a reason. I outlined pretty much every story and gameplay beat that this game has to show, as it's kind of underwhelming and repetitive. This could just be nostalgia or misremembering, but I truly felt as if the previous PS1 title was so much more grandiose and unique. You had the wizard chess level and the Quidditch matches in between, Gringotts, the flying pig boss fight. While this game by no means was awful or unplayable, I enjoyed the time I spent with it. I just wanted more variety, and that wasn't something that the game was really delivering on. And that was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on the PlayStation 1. Let me know if you guys played these games. I played the first one all the time. This one I had only tried for the first time a couple of years ago. Big thank you to my Rat King Patreon supporter, Bohan Thedosievich. If you would also like to support the channel, the Patreon link is in the description. I post bloopers, day early videos, polls, updates, you know, just behind the scenes content. Yeah, that is going to do it for this one. So thank you all for staying to the end, and I will see you in the next one.